Okay, so we're going to go over area and perimeter of a parallelogram. So here we have a parallelogram, and it's a parallelogram because it has two sets of parallel sides. So those two sides are parallel, and those two sides are parallel. And they're parallel because they're lines that would go on forever and they would never ever intersect. So those are parallel lines, and that's what makes this a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, you have a base and a height, just like you do for a rectangle. And your base and your height in a parallelogram need to meet at a 90-degree angle. So here, the yellow and the green that I highlighted, those are our base and our height. So in this case, the green is the base and the yellow is the height. And we use those two measurements because they meet at a 90-degree angle. And you know that's a 90-degree angle because of this symbol right here. That little corner sign means 90 degrees. So when I'm finding the area of a parallelogram, then I'm going to multiply my base times my height. And that gives me 21. And then we need to make sure that we use units. When we're talking about area, our units are squared. So really what's happening here is I have 3 yards times 7 yards. And that gives me 21 yards squared. And we put that little 2 up in the air to show that it's squared. And then when I am going to find my perimeter, in a parallelogram, opposite sides are the same length. So this is 7. And then across from the 4 side is also 4 over here. And then I can add them up. So I can do 7 plus 4 plus 7 plus 4 to get 22. And when we're talking about perimeter, we have linear units. So this would be, we could write 7 yards plus 4 yards plus 7 yards plus 4 yards. And that gives me a total of 22 yards. So in blue, we have the area. And in purple, we have the perimeter. I'm going to run out of space. Okay. So again, we multiply base times height for the area of a parallelogram. And to get the perimeter, we just add up all the sides. Perimeter is the distance we would go if we were traveling outside the shape, and area is the space if we were painting it. Okay, so now what I want you to do is to work on this problem. So I'm going to have you find the area, and I'm going to have you find the perimeter. Okay, so for the area of this problem, again, we're going to do base times height. And remember that our base and our height need to meet at 90-degree angles. So I've got, there is my height. And there is my base. And remember that I know that opposite sides are the same. So this side down here is 7 feet. So to find my area, I'm going to do 7 feet times 4 feet. And that will give me 28 feet squared. And just if you didn't know this before, these parentheses that I'm writing, that's another way to write multiplication. And that's a very common way that we'll use multiplication. So 28 feet squared is what you should have gotten for your area. And then we're going to take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at our perimeter now. So remember perimeter, we're going to add up all the sides like we're walking around. And I know that opposite sides are the same length, so I can fill in those missing measurements. And then I can do 5 feet plus 7 feet, which equals 12 feet. And then I can see that I've got, so I just did this 5 and this 7. And then I can see the same thing happens here. I've got a 5 and a 7. So I can say at this point, 12 feet. And I know that that's going to happen twice. So I'm going to multiply that by 2 to get a final perimeter of 24 feet. So the perimeter of this parallelogram was 24 feet.